In the grim underbelly of Seattle's Redmond Barrens, where neon signs flickered amid the constant drizzle, two Shadowrunners, known only by their code names, Raven and Viper, found themselves nursing drinks in the dimly lit confines of the Jump House bar. The stench of desperation and lost hopes clung to the place like a curse. Raven, a street samurai with cybernetic enhancements glinting beneath her trench coat, surveyed the bar's patrons through augmented eyes. Her sharp reflexes and combat skills made her a formidable asset in the world of shadowrunning. Viper, a mage, wore a cloak that seemed to waver with an ethereal presence. His astral perception allowed him to see the magical auras of those around him. He took a sip of his soykaf, deep in thought. As they exchanged glances, a mysterious figure approached, shrouded in a hooded cloak that concealed their identity. The stranger's voice was distorted as they spoke, a precaution taken by many in the shadows. "I've got a job for you," the enigmatic figure said. "There's something strange happening in the Everett neighborhood and it needs investigating." Raven raised an eyebrow, her cyber-enhanced ears picking up every nuance of the stranger's words. "What kind of something?" she asked. Viper's magical senses tingled with curiosity, and he leaned in closer, eager to hear more. The hooded figure leaned in, their voice lowered to a conspiratorial whisper. "People are falling ill, but it's not an ordinary sickness. They're transforming into bloodthirsty ghouls. It's a magical disease, and it's spreading fast." The revelation sent a chill down their spines. Ghouls were creatures of nightmare, and a magical disease that turned people into them was nothing short of horrifying. Raven nodded, her jaw set with determination. "We're in," she said. Viper, despite his initial shock, concurred. "We need more information, though. Who's behind this and what's their agenda?" The hooded figure produced a small data chip and slid it across the table. "This chip contains everything we know so far. You'll find contact information and a location to meet our employer. They'll provide additional details and the agreed-upon payment." Raven pocketed the chip, her cybernetic fingers making a subtle whirring sound. "We'll meet your employer. But if this turns out to be more dangerous than expected..." The stranger interrupted, their voice colder than the night outside. "You don't need to be told what happens to those who break contracts in our world. Now go. Time is of the essence." With a final nod, Raven and Viper left the Jump House bar, the weight of a potentially catastrophic outbreak pressing down on their shoulders. They knew that whatever lay ahead would test their skills, courage, and their ability to navigate the treacherous labyrinth of the Seattle shadows. Raven and Viper navigated the winding streets of Everett, the neighborhood afflicted by the mysterious illness. The atmosphere here was stifling, as if the very air was tainted with the dread of impending doom. Their destination was a clandestine meeting point specified by the shadowy employer. Following the directions on the data chip, they found themselves at the entrance to a long-abandoned industrial complex, hidden away from prying eyes. As they ventured further into the complex, a sense of foreboding grew. Graffiti-covered walls told tales of gang turf wars, and discarded drug paraphernalia hinted at the area's sordid past. The place had an eerie aura, as if it had absorbed the suffering of countless lost souls. A lone figure awaited them in the shadows, concealed by the flickering light of a malfunctioning street lamp. The features of their face remained obscured, but they exuded an air of authority that commanded respect. Raven, Viper, the figure acknowledged them with a nod. "I am your employer for this job." Raven, ever vigilant, sized up the enigmatic figure. "You've got answers. Start talking." The employer's voice was gruff, tinged with the wisdom of experience. "We've been monitoring this situation closely. The source of the infection appears to be a rogue mage, skilled in blood magic and necromancy. They're conducting twisted experiments, trying to perfect their dark arts." Viper frowned, his magical senses attuned to the subtle nuances of the astral plane. "Blood magic and necromancy? That's dark even for the shadows." The employer nodded grimly. "Indeed, and it gets worse. Our sources indicate that the mage is working for someone with connections to powerful corporations. They want to unleash this plague as a weapon to further their agendas." Raven's cybernetic hand clenched into a fist. "Then we need to stop them. Tell us everything you know." The employer provided the runners with details about the rogue mage's suspected location and known associates. They also handed over a bag filled with cred sticks, a down payment for their services. Viper accepted the bag and glanced at Raven. "We'll need to investigate discreetly, gather evidence, and put an end to this." The employer gave a final warning, their voice laden with gravity. "Be careful. The mage is dangerous, and you may encounter more than just ghouls. Trust no one." With that, Raven and Viper left the shadowy employer behind, their mission clear. They were now tasked with a daunting challenge to confront a rogue mage, uncover the truth behind the plague, and thwart the sinister forces pulling the strings from the shadows. As they delved deeper into the heart of the infected neighborhood, they couldn't help but wonder if the darkness that lurked there would consume them as well. Raven and Viper ventured further into the heart of Everett, the plagued neighborhood. The streets were eerily quiet, with only the occasional ominous growl or frenzied scream breaking the silence. As they approached the location provided by their employer, they observed a derelict building that seemed to be a hotspot for ghoul activity. Broken windows, graffiti-covered walls, and the stench of decay surrounded the structure. With cautious precision, the duo entered the building, scanning for any signs of the rogue mage's presence. Inside, the atmosphere was oppressive, as if the very walls were tainted by the malevolent magic that had taken root. Viper extended his magical senses, searching for any traces of the mage's aura. "There's something here, Raven. Faint traces of blood magic. We're getting closer." Raven nodded, her cyber-enhanced eyes scanning the dimly lit interior. "Stay alert. We don't know what we might find." Their footsteps echoed through the abandoned building as they moved deeper into its bowels. They encountered ghouls along the way, their bodies twisted and contorted by the magical plague. Each encounter was a violent skirmish as Raven and Viper fought to clear their path. As they pressed on, they discovered a hidden chamber beneath the building, concealed by ancient, rotting floorboards. The room was filled with grim totems, blood-stained altars, and disturbing symbols etched into the walls, a clear sign that this was the lair of the rogue mage. At the center of the chamber, an ominous ritual circle had been inscribed, still pulsating with dark energy. Within the circle, a figure cloaked in tattered robes chanted incantations in an unholy tongue. Raven recognized the ritual for what it was, a summoning aimed at tearing a portal to the Metalanes. The implications sent shivers down her spine. "Viper, we can't let this happen." Without hesitation, Viper unleashed a powerful burst of mana, disrupting the mage's concentration and causing the ritual circle to falter. The rogue mage turned to face them, their eyes filled with madness. "You're too late," the mage hissed, their voice dripping with malice. "The portal is nearly open, and the metaplanes will flood this world with chaos." Raven raised her cybernetic arm, a concealed blade extending from her wrist. "Not on our watch." A fierce battle ensued within the chamber as Raven and Viper fought to stop the rogue mage from completing the ritual. Dark energies clashed with arcane spells, and the very foundations of reality trembled under the strain. In the end, the combined might of Raven's cyber enhancements and Viper's mastery of magic prevailed. The rogue mage's power was extinguished, and the ritual circle crumbled into dust. As the dust settled, Raven and Viper caught their breath, knowing that they had averted a catastrophic metaplanar incursion. But the true masterminds behind the plot still lurked in the shadows, their sinister agenda far from thwarted. Having thwarted the rogue mage's attempt to tear open a portal to the metaplanes, Raven and Viper knew that they had only scratched the surface of the conspiracy. The true orchestrators of the sinister plot remained elusive, hidden in the shadows. They exited the decaying chamber, leaving the ruined ritual circle behind. The once silent streets of Everett were now filled with the approaching sirens of Lone Star, Seattle's corporate law enforcement. The ghouls' rampage had caught their attention. "We need to find out who's behind this," Raven said, her voice tinged with determination. "The rogue mage was just a pawn. Someone or something else is pulling the strings." Viper nodded in agreement, his magical senses probing for any lingering traces of dark magic. "We must follow the trail of corruption wherever it may lead." Their investigation led them through the darkest corners of Seattle's magical underground. They visited talismongers, seers, and even a few information brokers with ties to the shadowy world of the Awakened. In a small, dimly lit backroom of a talismonger's shop, they received a lead, an encrypted message that hinted at a secret cabal operating within the magical community. The message spoke of a hidden meeting place, known only to those initiated into the conspiracy. Determined to unravel the truth, Raven and Viper made their way to the Rendezvous Point, a disreputable dive bar in Tacoma frequented by those who preferred to remain in the shadows. Inside, they found a motley gathering of mages, shamans, and adepts, all connected to the dark forces behind the metaplanar incursion plot. A clandestine meeting was in progress, presided over by a hooded figure known as the Speaker. With their enhanced hearing, Raven and Viper listened to the whispered discussions, their cybernetic eyes recording every detail. The Speaker revealed the next phase of their plan, a ritual that would harness the chaotic energy of the metaplanes to reshape the world in their image. "We need to expose them," Raven murmured to Viper, her expression hidden beneath the hood of her jacket. "But we can't do it alone." Viper nodded, recognizing the truth in her words. They had stumbled upon a conspiracy far more extensive and dangerous than they had anticipated. As the meeting concluded, Raven and Viper slipped away, their minds racing with thoughts of how to confront the malevolent cabal and put an end to their grand design. Raven and Viper knew that they couldn't confront the malevolent cabal alone. The conspiracy they had uncovered ran deep within the magical underground of Seattle, and it was clear that the cabal would stop at nothing to achieve their dark goals. Their first step was to gather allies, individuals who had their own reasons to expose the conspiracy and put an end to the metaplanar incursion plot. Among the Awakened community, they found a network of informants, mercenaries, and shamans who were willing to lend their aid. Assembling their team, they prepared for a final showdown with the cabal. Each member had a unique set of skills, from powerful combat magic to technomancy expertise. Raven and Viper shared the information they had gathered, detailing the cabal's plans to harness the metaplanar energy for their own gain. The team's plan was twofold. First, they would disrupt the ritual the cabal intended to perform, preventing the catastrophic consequences it would unleash. Second, they would expose the cabal's members to the authorities and the magical community, ensuring that justice was served. Under the cover of darkness, the team infiltrated the cabal's hidden ritual site, a secluded grove deep within the Salishid wilderness. The air was thick with tension as they moved stealthily through the woods, taking care to avoid any magical wards or traps set by the cabal. When they reached the grove, they found the cabal members in the midst of their preparations. The Speaker stood at the center of the ritual circle, surrounded by hooded figures, their voices raised in a chant that resonated with dark power. Raven and Viper took position at the edge of the grove, preparing to disrupt the ritual. With a nod, they signaled their team to move in. The battle that followed was a whirlwind of magic and gunfire as the Awakened allies clashed with the cabal. The Speaker, realizing that their plan was unraveling, attempted to complete the ritual prematurely, drawing upon the metaplanar energy with reckless abandon. The result was catastrophic. The very fabric of the astral plane began to tear, threatening to unleash chaos upon the world. Raven and Viper combined their magical prowess, focusing their energy on the unstable rift. With a final surge of power, they managed to seal the tear and prevent the catastrophe from occurring. As the dust settled, the cabal members were subdued, their faces revealed to the world. The authorities arrived to apprehend them, and the Awakened community watched in shock as those they had trusted were led away in chains. With the conspiracy exposed and the threat averted, Raven and Viper knew that their work was far from over. The city's magical underground had been shaken to its core, and the fallout from the cabal's actions would continue for years to come. But for now, they had brought an end to the metaplanar incursion plot, preventing the unleashing of chaotic magic upon the world. With a sense of satisfaction, they looked to the future, ready to face whatever challenges the shadows of Seattle would bring. Subscribe for more Shadowrun stories, history, and lore.